Picture yourself in a pristine river valley, mountains all around you, beautiful trees, rocks and plants, birds and bees, animals, a river, beautiful, pristine, gorgeous river flowing through this pristine river valley. All the way, we're at the source of the river. We're upstream. Everything seems to fit in with everything else. There's a connection, a harmony to everything. We all want to be there. We want to live in that pristine place. In order to live upstream, we have to adopt an upstream mentality. We have to adopt principles, philosophies, and practices that allow us to live upstream. How do most of us live? Downstream. What do I mean? Think of your own body, this temple here that you get to inhabit. Think of this as the pristine river valley. When you were born, this was pristine, clean, functioning, super high functioning, like unbelievable, right? A miracle. And when you're healthy and you make upstream based decisions, you're living in the solution to problems. When you live upstream, you live in the solution to problems, and you're not constantly creating problems. However, as I said, most of us live downstream in the consequences of our upstream decisions. Poor diet, unbelievable amounts of caffeine, amazing amounts of toxicity in our environment, amazing amounts of stress, pathogens, bacteria, viruses, polluted air, polluted water, polluted soil, conventionally farmed foods, taking in more toxic load. We live in a toxic world, and we make decisions which build more toxicity into the body rather than being in a process of detoxification on a regular basis. Detoxification is living upstream. The problem is when we live downstream in downstream mentality, you're always putting out fires. You don't have the energy to get upstream because it's problem after problem after problem after problem. And you think to yourself, someday I'll get past all of these problems so that I can actually live the way I think I'm supposed to live. So that this is an enormous, enormous mental hindrance. So in terms of your health, in terms of being able to function at a high level, at the highest level, we want to be upstream. So let's unpack this just a little bit more, and then we'll go into our second process to get ourselves into upstream thinking. So Vandana Shiva, she's an incredible environmentalist, an Indian woman who's written many books, and she's a PhD, and she's just extraordinary. She says human beings are the only species on the planet that shit upstream from where they eat. Now that's a harsh statement, but a true statement. We pollute our water, our air, and our soil. We pollute upstream, and we're living downstream from that pollution. So what creates that downstream pollution? Sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercise, chronic dehydration, poor food choices, overeating, lack of sleep and rest, disconnection from nature, disconnection from our own nature, and disconnection from the environment around us, too much stress, and of course, all of the addictive behaviors. The problem, as I stated, in this mental hindrance, the main problem is you never get past the problems. You're only dealing with problems in your life. It's one thing after the next. So what happens is you start to focus on life and experience life as a problem. When you live downstream, this means you're now going to be at the mercy of your mind, at the mercy of negativity. And you're going to start to feel, guess what? A little bit like a victim. Because my God, when am I going to get a break? When am I going to get a break? I'm always having to put out another fire. And you know what happens? is we get into things like downstream, you know, the movement from downstream consciousness to upstream consciousness means that we're going to have to take some new actions. We're going to have to do different things than what we've been doing. It's really going to require a change in our routines and our behavior. And you know what happens when we're in downstream mentality and at first we try to change and we try to get upstream? There's a funny thing that happens for many of us, and that thing is called self-doubt. I don't believe I can do it. Why? Because I've been downstream for so long. I don't even know what's upstream anymore. How will I even get there? So self-doubt causes something. Do you know what it is? It's procrastination. We don't even start. We put off taking an action that's going to change our mentality from a downstream way of living to an upstream way of living. We put it off. And often we'll find that self-doubt, or another one that does it, is we don't know how to do it. We don't have the right direction. And this is where a training program like ours comes through, because you have to have guidance. Every one of us needs guidance to get from that downstream way of thinking to unlock. You unlock your creativity upstream. You experience childlike spontaneity again upstream. You're no longer going from one thing to the next, and you're not having to say, I got to get that hike in today. Now you're upstream, like you got possibilities. Time starts to be on your side. You don't feel like you're swimming upstream. You feel like you're in universal flow, and there's a harmony, and things seem to fit. And you know what you start to notice? Wow, things seem to be working out in my favor once you get into upstream thinking. But this procrastination. Now, everybody in this group right here, tell me if in the chat bar, do you understand the feeling and the frustration of procrastination? I'll put up my hands so you can see them. Do you understand how painful that is? Because that was like the story of my life as a younger person. It was just procrastination. I didn't believe in myself. Self-doubt just undermined my efforts. Everybody's like, yes, of course, absolutely, right? And I also didn't know how to do it. I didn't have the right instruction, and I didn't have the right instructors, and I didn't have a community of support. Those are the three things that it really takes. So procrastination, okay, it can be solved. There's a wonderful thing that an incredible coach and wise teacher gave me that I want to pass on to you right now. So write this down if you would. Here's the procrastination buster. All right. Small things. Write this down. Small things. Done consistently in strategic places over time brings progress. Small things done consistently over time brings progress. Small things done consistently in strategic places over time brings progress. Okay. That statement there for me was a game changer in my life, because it showed me one of the places that I had been wrong in my thinking was I was looking at the enormity of a project and I would become paralyzed. I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. It's too much. I'm not even going to start. And I'm in the cycle again. And I've just proven to myself once again what a failure I am. And it's given me a story that I can hold on to. And that's the story of victim, of how somebody like me is just never going to make it. And if any of this sounds familiar to you or resonates with you, listen, I'm right on board with you. I know what this is like, and I know what it takes to get out of this. So let's look at that. Okay. All right. How do we get upstream? So that statement, small things done consistently in strategic places over time brings progress, is kind of a clue. It's a clue that will help us get there. And what we need to do small things consistently in strategic ways is we need structure. I'm sorry to use a bad word. I used the bad word with you. It's structure. None of us like it. We come to structure for some reason. The people that I've ever met, maybe the 100,000 people I've actually met in recovery in 30 years, none of them seem to love structure. We all sort of kick and scream. And so, creating structure in your life. The funny thing for all of us is once we embrace the right structure, our life takes off. We flourish in structure. We're kicking and screaming until we get it, and then we flourish. So we do things in the 8-week awakening program, for example, morning practice, evening practice, one day at a time practices, certain outdoor practices that get you into nature every day, everything raising the vibration, everything getting you into routines that help you along, that promote your well-being rather than demote your being back down to a level of frequency that you don't want to be at. So structure is so important.